Yeah.
Well, I was probably for 30 years on a search for well-being. You know, going to classes, intensive meditation, all kinds of pursuits, thousands of books probably. And when I first heard about the principles, the teacher at my first class leaned in and said, "You're not broken." And it just touched me that I didn't have to become something better. You know, that I was absolutely adequate. And so that was kind of my beginning. You know, my ears perked up and I was like, well, what's she got to say? You know? And in the weeks that followed, I learned so much about this universe that we live in being a creative, energetic field of life. And that every single one of us are part of that same energy. And that we're also creative and intelligent and putting together individual experiences. So let's see, we start with mind. And you know, I sat there one day and I was in a classroom and I was getting knots in my brain from trying to understand what in the world they were talking about and get it into my intellect. And I saw just in an instant that from corner to corner in this room that I was in, every inch of the room was full of this life energy. And some of it had taken form as me, and some of it had taken form as her, but it was all this one single field of energy. And so that was kind of a breakthrough for me, you know, that, okay, I get it. I see that, you know, this energy is just impelling itself into life forms. And as part of those life forms, I'm also impelled to create. And I do that all day, every day. And I do it through this human gift of thought. And you know, for me, what worked was that, you know, all day, every day, I was just walking around making shit up. You know, I don't know if you want that on your tape or not, but but you know, I was creating constantly, and that's where all my struggling was right here, between, you know, in this little 4-inch square of life. And I was making up who you were supposed to be, and I was making up what you were thinking, and then resenting you for thinking it. And I was making up how the day was supposed to go, and I was making up how people were supposed to act, and you know, I had all these concepts about what was supposed to happen and what I needed to be okay, and you know, it was just creating this giant field of resistance. And you know, I could almost feel my own energy space as just being like, you know, pushing back at the world, and I started to see it. And I call it busting myself. You know, I was busting myself for weeks and weeks and weeks. You know, be struggling with who somebody was, and then I'd think, you're making that up. You don't know who she is. And I was like, oh, there I go again, or you're in next Thursday. Come back to today. And I would, oh, yeah, I'm trying to do time that isn't here yet, I'm replaying traumas from 1952, and feeling the hurt all over again. And I was like, come back, And I just really started to see that this wonderful gift of creativity can just go down so many wrong roads, and get me into so much trouble. And, my parents and my grandparents were really into positive thinking. They were big Norman Vincent Peale fans. So I had this background of, think positive. And I started to look back and realize that when I'm not feeling positive, I can't always think my way into it. But I can understand that it's just where my thinking is right now. And just say, well, today I made up a lot of pain, I guess, or today I'm worrying, or today I'm doing, a cloudy day. My head's having a cloudy moment here, and it'll clear and the sun will come out. So, and then I see that, consciousness is such a magical thing. That this principle of consciousness is like the science and the spirituality colliding in each and every one of us, where the thoughts that I'm having get delivered into my chemistry, the chemistry of my body, and I experience them as real. And consciousness has no quality control. It doesn't say, oh, that's a good thought, I'll bring that to life. It brings to life whatever I'm making up. And sometimes, it's so good at what it does that I totally feel like you made me feel this way. And still today, it's like, oh my God, he made me angry. And then I realize, oh no, he didn't. If he'd have said the same thing yesterday, I wouldn't have even reacted. But today I was kind of in a insecure mood, and it hurt my feelings. But it came from the same old place, So, for me, this, just this understanding it was long and slow, and bit by bit, and it still goes on. I still see it more all the time. But it's just transformed me. It's transformed my health. I'm so much healthier since I'm not resisting so much. Funniest thing, I have rheumatoid arthritis, which is a disease of inflexibility. And I'm not creating that today. I still have some residuals from being that way for many, many years, but I'm not creating it today. And so I just live from a place of well-being, except when I'm creating something different. And when I'm out of my well-being, I get uncomfortable really quickly and say, what am I creating here? Oh yeah, I was trying to get them to be somebody they're not, or I was trying to get things to go differently than they're actually going. And boom, I'm back in this feeling of well-being. So I love that I have this history of searching, and I finally got to stop searching and just know where it is, and it's always in the same place. I don't have to go to 10 years of therapy for this quality, and then 10 years of therapy for that quality, and then 10 years of therapy for that quality. I just know where to look when I'm not in a great place. And it's, it's always right there between my ears.
Do you like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you good?
Yeah.
I thought that was a great place to stop.